Now recording. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thanks very much for joining. We're here to talk about the day we had yesterday and what is happening next, and to try and answer any questions. So most of the time, I think, will be devoted to questions. But I'd like to say a few things first, just to cover some ground. Maybe I should also introduce myself. I'm Iago. I'm a contributor to the project and a person who doesn't sleep very much recently. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. We put together an event called the Genesis event. The Genesis event was basically an event designed to create the decentralized governance 2.0, so Bitocracy 2.0 for Sovryn, and to make sure that users could be the first stakeholders in the system. And when I say users, the idea was, what we did was we announced that if you were a user of the system before January 8th, then you could participate in the opportunity to reserve your allocation of SOV in advance. And we announced this on January 8th, so that Jeffrey Tuner, would you mind muting yourself, please? So we announced this on January 8th so that people wouldn't join just for this. We wanted to make sure as much as possible that it was users of the system. So since then, we've been testing extensively the system for Genesis. We had a number of votes, so our first votes in the decentralized system using Bitocracy 1.0 were made. So there was SIP 0001, which created the Bitcoin treasury with a multi-sig address. There was SIP 2, which set the maximum price and created the permission for the system to generate the CSOV. And it was also a great opportunity for us to test out the voting system and to let the community know in more detail what the plan was. We got a lot of feedback. The number one thing that we saw was that there was a desire by more people than we realized to participate in Genesis. And so in SIP 03, we finalized the price, but we also increased the allocation of CSOV to 2 million SOV. And then that vote closed at around 1 p.m. or noon on yesterday, Monday, and that allowed activation of the Genesis system. And then, because of a couple of issues, the Genesis process, the Genesis system itself, activated a few minutes late, or later than we expected, so a little bit past 2. And then about 800 people pretty much concurrently sent funds. It was actually a little bit over 800. Sent or tried to send funds to the system. And so in a few minutes, the entire allocation of SOV, or the entire amount of BTC that would be able to reserve the entire allocation of SOV, was completed. And we closed the interface so that people wouldn't continue sending funds. And now, I think I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about what we observed, or what we're still observing. But before I get into that, I'd just tell you that as far as we can tell, the system worked almost perfectly, even though this was, as far as I know, the first time ever that a smart contract-based system interfacing with the Bitcoin mainnet and secured by Bitcoin proof of work has ever been tried. This is the first one I think that anyone's ever built, and it pretty much worked exactly as we expected. There were a few edge cases, mostly due to the fact that we didn't expect such a huge influx. But I think we should all be extremely grateful and proud of the dev team who had managed to get it right and had tested it and made sure it was safe. That said, these same people are currently reviewing every single transaction by hand, one by one, just to make sure. Just making sure that some of the interesting things that we saw many concurrent users using the system, and servers held up very nicely. We also saw that pretty much everyone, almost nobody, sent a smaller allocation than what they had been allocated, which means that we didn't even come close to. So we thought that what would happen is, there would be a few people, there would be a bunch of people, and as time went by, we realized it was more and more people who would want to participate in this, but we didn't imagine a situation where everyone would be using up their entire allocation. What we also didn't expect was the huge influx of funds to happen so quickly. And what has happened as a result is we have received quite a bit more Bitcoin than can be allocated to the 2 million CSOV. And so when the team has finished reviewing all of the transactions, and we know that we have double-checked everything, we'll need to make a decision. And we'll need to make a decision through the voting process of what we do next. One of the important things that we decided to do is make all of these funds redeemable. And so anyone who doesn't want to participate or has regretted participating in Genesis can always choose to request their funds back. The issue is that there's quite a bit more funds that were received than we wanted or were expecting. And so we'll have to decide what to do about that. And that could mean returning funds. It could mean maybe increasing the allocation somewhat. It could mean maybe applying these to the next sort of pre-order event or to the next auction. And I just want you guys to know that we don't know, and I can't make a decision around this. This will be something that will be discussed, and there will need to be a vote on it. But it is something that we're examining, and I expect that we'll be able to provide more information very soon, and would be interested also in your thoughts. Another interesting thing that came out of this is that Sovryn is now a very interesting project in that it is a autonomous, decentralized project running on Bitcoin, but also, and in this way it's very different from many other projects, it has its own treasury, and that treasury is controlled by the governance itself. So it's not like there's like if you think about Compound, right? There's the company behind Compound or the company behind Uniswap, and they have a treasury and they decide to deploy it how they want. No, with Sovryn now is an autonomous system beyond the realm of earthly regulation, which also has its own treasury, not held in a bank account or any centralized custodian anywhere. It's a project in space, and I think that gives it a very good opportunity to be the first project on the moon. And finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about what comes next. So we are in the process of working to deploy Bureaucracy 2.0. Bureaucracy 2.0 will have a wider number of potential voting participants. It will have the time-weighted voting system that we've been working on. And it will be the TGE, the token generation event for SOV. And that means that those of you who participated and were allocated CSOV will be able to be part of that and to have a stake in that system, to be among the people, the members, the sovereigns who are controlling Sovryn. And one of the first decisions I think we're going to want to make is what do we do next in terms of growing the Sovryn treasury and allowing SOV to be tradable publicly within our own platform and other platforms. And so we want you guys to be involved in this decision and to help drive this decision. And so there are a few things that we're going to be doing. First of all, we're going to be opening up opportunity to discuss this. I personally will be writing a SIP detailing how I think we should go about it. But we would like to get other people to express their opinions and to provide their insights, because I'm sure you guys have a lot of talents and understanding that we maybe don't have, right? I mean, there's wisdom in a crowd. And so we're also going to be offering a $1,000 bounty, up to $1,000, for proposals or parts of proposals that ultimately get chosen by the governance and become the way that the system goes through the next step of programmatic sales and allowing SOV to begin trading anywhere. And so, you know, for you guys to make sure that I don't become the winner of that bounty, what we're hoping is that you guys will make your own SIPs or your own proposals or propose things in the forums and the Discord. And if your entire proposal or parts of your proposal are become part of the ultimate decision, then you can have the entire or part of that $1,000 in SOV bounty. I'd like to think that you guys would do it because you're interested, not just because you're going after the bounty, but it's always nice to have some extra incentives. So those were the... Oh, okay, and maybe I just say a few things on what happens next in a little bit more detail. So this week, we expect to, among other things, finalize everything about Genesis, have a full picture of exactly what transactions happened, in what order, how they occurred, who they came from, and make sure that really the system completely worked the way we wanted it to. Next week, we expect we're hoping next week to have additional liquidity and to enable trading again with an improved interface. And then we currently have a soft target of Friday, February 5th, which is the end of next week, to have the TGE and initialize Bureaucracy 2.0, which would then allow for you guys to choose whether or not you want to receive your SOV, and then soon after participate in the first votes, which one of which will probably be about how we move forward with any additional pre-sales, public sales, liquidity, etc. I think that's all I had to say at the beginning, and now I think the best thing to do is to open it up to questions.
Hi, Jaco.
Hi, Digital.
Hi. First of all, Congrats on this fantastic sales event. Really overwhelming and really wonderful. My question is with my transaction have not been reviewing or
I think.
Oh, what happened is he did not process the transactions in the order in which they were mined, but in the order in which we tracked the users in the database, which means that the users which first interacted with the system came first. That's basically if you prepared yourself early with entering upgrade codes like already over the weekend, then you came first or before those who just set up everything on the day itself. So it was processed in the order in which the addresses were generated, which was the order in which the user started interacting with the system. So this is an explanation why some of the transactions which occurred in a later block got the token allocations and others not. This is one of the possible explanations, and this is the order in which the transactions were processed. But then there are about, I do not remember, about 50 addresses, I think, which either sent too much or they tried to invest twice, once on RSK with RBTC and once with Bitcoin, and the smart contract did not allow this. So we had a couple of rejected assignments on the smart contract, and in this case, the allocation was given to someone else. So this is also a reason. So this is how we ended up with the allocation we currently have.
So that hopefully helped answer that question. The second part of Digital Alchemist's question was what happens to those who had their allocation come in later? So as I mentioned earlier, this is a topic that we are discussing, but we're not discussing it extremely seriously right now, because right now our attention is fully turned towards making sure that everything went through the way we expected it to, that there were no weird outliers that could disadvantage someone unfairly, and making sure that we have a full picture of everything that occurred. This is probably overkill in terms of our analysis, but it's extremely important because this is a system which we may also use again, and it was a system through which flowed. We had set the maximum at about $1.5 million or 50 BTC, but in practice, closer to 2.5 million or around 70 BTC flow through the system, even though we shut it off immediately, basically, it's hitting its maximum. So it's a system which handled a lot of funds, and even if we were never going to use it again, it would be extremely important that we treat these funds with a great deal of respect and responsibility, and that we make sure that we learn any lessons that need to be learned. So we'll be writing out a report, and that will be available to everyone. And then once we've done that, we'll feel more comfortable having a discussion on exactly how we're going to deal with the situation. And just to give you guys some color into some of the issues, like part of the reason that we have too many funds is that some users tried multiple transactions or sent more funds. That is the small part of it. Most of it was because there were a large number of people who sent funds. Some of those funds were sent in near concurrence. So we don't want to disadvantage anyone. We want to make sure that whatever we do is going to be as justifiable and as fair and as transparent as possible. And so I don't think we can or should give even the beginning of an answer to that, and not create expectations or mislead anyone until we are sure that we have a full picture and that we feel confident that we can then move on to making a decision. And even then, it will be subject to a vote. I know this is a topic, especially for people who feel like they didn't receive an allocation. I know a lot of people wanted to participate and couldn't, and some people sent funds and they're not sure if they're going to receive CSOV, and so they'll want to know if they're getting their funds back or what next. We're open to suggestions, but I don't think it would be responsible of us to commit to anything until we have a good picture and the ability to confidently put out a proposal which can be voted on.
Can I have? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I see PBJ.
Yes, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I'm not expecting actually an answer from you. Just wanted to say that the situation is complicated and it's not easy to say what is right and what is wrong. I mean, it's not easy to give extra location because you said, okay, it's 2 million sovereigns and that's it. So giving extra location is not easy. Also, it's not easy to say it's right who participated in which block. If you count the block 604, where there are many people who didn't receive the funds, they can say, okay, I was first because some guy from 605, 606, he got his part. Then what can you do? Take away the CSOV that you already sent to someone and then take it back. I mean, also this is not might not be the right thing to do. So I'm just saying, take time and see what is the best way out, and then we can discuss it.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And one thing I'll say about the block issue is Gachua. Do you mind muting yourself, please? Is that making the transactions on a first come first serve basis on the basis of blocks has two disadvantages. One is that blocks come as blocks. So if, as happened, one block effectively is oversubscribed, it becomes more difficult if you're just using blocks to decide on who came first. The second issue is that if you construct it in that way, you're seriously incentivizing people to pay enormous fees for the transaction because there's a race condition between them, but on the basis of who gets mined first. And we don't think that that's... BR, please mute yourself. We don't think that that's healthy for the participants or for the blockchain. So we prefer to avoid that situation, and it's one, those are two good reasons why treating it on the basis of the order in which the transactions were initiated on the sovereign system is probably the better way to go. I see Digital Alchemist wants to ask a question.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wish we would have known this in advance. What happened to me is that I was advised by one of your admins to use the upgrade code, the hero code, on a new wallet. So that may actually have put me in a disadvantage here, as I understand your reasoning here correctly.
No, sorry. It wasn't on the basis of which wallet connected to the system ever. It was on the basis of which wallet initiated the transaction once Genesis had started.
It was when It was actually counting when the upgrade code was inputted. Then we already have registered. But it's like, it doesn't matter which wallet you upgraded, you use the upgrade code for. Like this.
Okay. Okay. That's clear. Okay. But that's still interesting then, because I upgraded my wallet on Friday. But never mind. I'll shut up.
No, it's fine. Your concern is noted, and we're taking it into account. I agree. We're going to learn things from this. I don't think we made bad decisions, but it's always really good to be able to communicate things. Sometimes it's not even clear what's important to communicate. This, for example, I don't think it occurred to anyone that it was an important, matter, or that it would make much of a difference. But this is also partly why it was important to do this in an environment where it is our users, where the funds are redeemable, and why we are, also doing what we can to make sure we understand exactly what happened. Any other thoughts or questions?
So, first, congratulations on success. It's great to see all the excitement out there. I have a question though about when we get done with this first round of fundraising after the public sale and things kind of quiet down on that front. How many coins do you think will be outstanding of the total? I'm curious in how we value this from a market cap.
Right. So it depends on, first of all, what date you're thinking about, and what happens next in terms of what the Bitocracy votes to do. But the way we put out a blog post showing what we expect the number of circulating tokens to be, and based on the price you would also be able to calculate what it is, but it should be no more than 5.5 million tokens circulating initially, and probably less, although that's, again, these are not decisions, these are our estimations, and what we are going to expect will happen, and ultimately it will be a Bitocracy decision, but it should probably be less than 5.5 million SOV circulating.
Okay,
so
great.
that's
good to have a good estimate.
Right, and that would effectively imply a sort of a market cap of about 4 million at the to trade on our platform and on other platforms. And so one of the things that we've decided is that we want to try and encourage debate and input from the community on this. And so we will be offering a bounty of $1,000 in SOV, up to $1,000 in SOV, for proposals that in part or in whole are voted in by the governments around what to do next in terms of public sales, etc. And I will be writing my own proposal, and my proposal will compete with other proposals that you guys or anyone else can write.
Perfect. One last question, Iago. Thanks for summarizing, first of all. And the second thing is, I saw some post on Sovryn official Twitter saying, join us. I think you guys are hiring. So would you mind adding a few points on it?
Join what?
Sovryn team. Are you guys hiring, or there is no
Yes,
hiring?
yes, we're desperately hiring. So we now have a treasury. So we're getting ready to spend it. There's a need for additional devs. There's a need for people who can help with talent, both in terms of recruiting and managing the talent, making sure our extremely diverse and remote team are well coordinated. There's a need for quality assurance, a need for penetration testing and system auditing, a need for sort of social media activity. There's a desire to have people who are involved in helping to develop the governance processes. We discussed a lot of this and should be available on our YouTube during the last community meeting. And one of the things that we would like is for people who have ideas of how they could contribute to propose themselves, and you can even soon be able to propose a bounty or a grant for yourself, saying, I would like to do this, or I could bring this kind of value to the project. So yes, definitely there's a substantial, our biggest constraint right now, as the project has grown very, very much, is getting in the additional talents to keep up the pace of development and the pace of growth.
Perfect. And it would be great if you guys can create a simple document on how to, how we can apply for any of the positions. That would be great, because since the beginning I would like to join this group, but I was a bit clueless on how to approach you guys.
I actually, we are going to be working on that. Someone has recently reached out to me to try and help with that, and we will, moment we have 2 minutes to rub together, we'll try and get that ball rolling.
Thanks, Jago.
Hey there. Congrats one more time for all the events that you guys have surpassed till now, and I'm happy to be part of the Sovryn Genesis sale. I was wishing you could remind me where can we participate in the with the ideas for the token sales and all that stuff that you already said, but I forgot, sorry.
I didn't say. We will create a channel for that. If anyone here has a good idea for a clever name for that channel, that would be appreciated, but we'll create a channel. I'll create one soon after this AMA, and we'll be able to start that conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
ABA?
hello?
Yes. Hi, ABA.
First of all of us, we feel that we need to express our congratulations for the team, first of all, the core team, and all of you that we felt that you were not sleeping for a long time to deliver all this, and also many members were not sleeping to be prepared to participate in Genesis sale. And yesterday was a really symbolic day, I could say a historical day for many people, because it was like a celebration of plutocracy. When talking about plutocracy, that you use this term a lot, it reminds of democracy that all of us will feel. And at this moment, I would like to say that in ancient Greece, democracy had to do with participants, with participation. The person who didn't participate was called idiotic, and from this word comes idiot. So symbolically, idiot means the person who doesn't participate. And what we see now is that yesterday, so many people wanted to participate, wanted to be part of plutocracy. And today, in this community call, also everybody, I feel, that wants to contribute to this project. And I think, Iago, you have the same feeling, and you are so proud
I absolutely agree with this. Blew me away. I'm still in shock.
Yeah. So
But,
maybe
yeah.
yesterday, I suppose you had the best leak ever. So it was a winning. It was a celebration of our philosophy, of our targets, principles of a society without controlling as we live now. Because I believe that Sovryn brings something new that all of us we understand, that has to do with control of our lives, not only control of our wallets.
Thank you very much.
So this contribution by everyone is so important. And if you allow me, I would like to give you some ideas of what happened the last days. Maybe this could help for you decision makers to decide in the right direction, if I could say this.
Yes, please.
So the first thing that I noticed is that some codes were circulated. And some people tried to load the codes in advance, a few days ago or one day before the sale. And then some people started to comment that if you preload the code, then it doesn't work correctly, the site. Because the tire is not going to the upgraded tire, it goes back to the previous. So this made some people to wait until the last moment to upload their code in order, with refreshing the website, not to lose the tire.
Oh my God, who was spreading these rumors? It would have been like way better if everyone
chats, you know. And then when you try to load the code 10 minutes or 15 minutes before the sale, system was taking too long to load it. So precious time was lost. The other thing that was circulated before, as a rumor maybe, or it was official, and that's why we are talking here, because we are talking, all of us, to improve our project and to make it more transparent and more efficient for everyone. And I believe everybody agrees that if we want democracy or bitocracy to work, we need clear voice and clear communication between us. So the previous days and the official statement from our side was first comes, first served. And this seems to be fair. So for every member, created in mind an idea that I have to be fast. I have to be prepared to have ready my wallet and ready my account and everything ready when sale comes to shoot. And that's why we had this kind of funny panic at the beginning when you realize that we have a delay. And of course, delays in the program, because as Iago said, human time is different than tech time. And at this delay, everybody was panicking. Why? Because everybody had the feeling that they have to be fast. Otherwise, they lose the opportunity. And because of that, I believe most of the users who use centralized wallets, they chose the high fees, the priority fees. And this is something, Iago, that you mentioned that you didn't like. You don't like this idea, if I understand well. But finally, we served this idea because of the fast and furious philosophy that we created to our users. Don't take me wrong. I want to make a constructive.
No. Everything you're saying is very interesting. and it is stuff that we are talking about or thinking about. One of the things that we're thinking is if we ever do anything like this again. Sorry, ABA, if you don't mute yourself, then I hear myself speaking.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear you. Something with connection.
Can you mute yourself, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you mute yourself, please?
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is that maybe what we can try and do is allow like a substantial period of time before, if we ever do something like this before, for people to pre-deposit so that there isn't that mass panic and that people know that they're in the queue and everything's fine. Of course, everything that you do sort of has these weird behavior cases. For example, we had these NFT codes that you mentioned. One of the reasons that that it got delayed a little bit was because at the very last moment, we noticed that there were suddenly a huge number of users who were inputting the codes over and over again, and we didn't know why. So we thought that there was maybe a problem with the system, and so we had to stop everything and quickly investigate. It felt like when you watch the countdowns to a rocket launch, and then somebody notifies you that maybe there's a problem. Everything has to stop, and everyone's running around. That was the way it felt yesterday. And then we checked it again, and we tested it ourselves, and the codes were working. So, but now we know why it happened. So thank you. But the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure that whatever decision we make in the future, there's going to be edge cases. There's always, people who misunderstand something or people who do something weird that you would never expect. You mentioned idiots earlier. No system is idiot proof because nobody is as creative as idiots. So we do the best I can, and I think that at the end of the day, the result from yesterday was actually was very good in that the system operated despite the challenges and the stresses, and did what it was supposed to do. And to the extent that there are edge cases, that's why we're examining every transaction to try and identify how we can make things better in the future, and also make sure that anyone who participated isn't getting some kind of weird result. Anyway, thank you very much, ABA. Next question.
I would like to finish with a proposal, if you allow me.
Yes, please.
So all of us believe that under this pressure, everything works well, and so that you will find the solution for all the people that wanted to participate and not to be outside like idiots. And don't take me wrong, I don't want to offend anybody about this. It's just a symbolic use of the word. So my proposal to you that maybe would give solution for everybody to be happy is that now you have your results. You know that some people were there from the beginning and they wanted to be participants. So if the amount is not so high, I believe that maybe it's 500,000 or 1 million. Maybe you can give reward to everybody to this phase that is still initial phase, and they want to be contributors.
Thank you.
So you can make a decision, like generous decision, that guys, the first people that you came, you get your SOBs because you desire them, and this is a signal that you want to be with us from the beginning. And then all of us, we go to the public sale and we support it with our opinions and spreading the word and the idea of Sovryn.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, ABA. That is certainly one option, and it is something that we're considering. There's always trade-offs in any decision that we make, but it's certainly something. Even yesterday and this morning, we were discussing that as an option. And I just think, right now, we don't want to say that we're going to be doing that, or emphasize certain options versus other options, because it's important to set the right expectations, and there's no way for me or anyone else on the team right now to guarantee what the decision or the outcome will be. But yes, that is one of the things that we're examining.
Diego, I have another solution perhaps for this debate of those who missed out. Where do I submit my ideas or proposal?
I think right now maybe the best place would be in user feedback.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Iago, can I ask?
Sure.
Okay. First things first. Congratulations on your sale, on our sale. It's a big step for the community. I want to ask: are there any further steps for the Sovryn app? So, like, are there plans to communicate with Nifty or with MetaMask to make a portable version of it viable or even possible? Like, it's just a small question.
Yes, definitely. So one of the things that so there's many things planned, but one of the things that we think would be really good would be to have a number of mobile apps that integrate with the system. And so there are a number of projects like Bixo, like Defiant Wallet, and some others that have reached out to us, but they're bigger and have asked us not to speak about it yet, who are potentially interested in doing that. We're also very interested in having maybe a native Sovryn mobile application. And that would, that's a not insubstantial task, but I think would be very good, and could also act as sort of like a second factor authentication tool for people who are using browser or hardware wallets. So yes, I think accessibility and better wallets is one of the big things that we want to emphasize. Overall, we've been in testing now for a few months with Nifty and MetaMask as the two most popular wallets that most users use. MetaMask in particular, we found, is very popular but causes quite a lot of issues, and so and it's very difficult. So we've reached out to both the Nifty teams and MetaMask teams. MetaMask team is notorious for being very difficult to get anything working with them or having any type of partnership. Nifty a little bit easier, but in both cases, we don't want to be relying on them to make changes. And so we are looking to be able to work with other wallets, propose better wallets, and there's a number of different people who have approached us around potentially building wallets or helping with wallets. If somebody is interested in that, I think there's a very interesting opportunity there, and something which would be extremely useful to the system and the community.
Yep, thanks.
Guys, we are coming to the end of the hour, so if you want to ask a question, you can always kind of sort of virtually by doing what I just did, which is turning mute on and off quickly. So if you want to do that, so we can see more or less how many questions there remain, and then we can try and get in the next few questions.
Also, quick announcement: we plan to have a meme contest for in celebration of the successful Genesis pre-order, and also just for fun. And so expect an announcement and a banner for it today. And basically, we'll just have a meme contest. Top 3 submissions that get voted on will win prizes. And I think we'll accept submissions until Friday, and we'll have some hashtag for it. I was thinking Bitocracy, hashtag Bitocracy, or if someone has like a cooler, memeier phrasing, like totally open to suggestions. So just look out for that today. Thanks.
I saw the dollar crypto. You had a guess. Let's try and get the questions and answers to be shorter, given that there's a lack of time.
Yes, sure. I just wanted to follow up on what Abba to follow up on Abba's comments. Since the first proposal will be by the people that did manage to get into the cell because they were fast shooters. Yeah, just take into consideration that most people in this call, were also part of that Genesis, and I know it was 1.8 million allocated, so maybe if it went overboard and you said it's I think it's 2.2, somewhere around over 2 million. So if it can be, I think it would be good omen if it can be capped at also again like the first round. So it's a 2 million and up to 2.1 million. I think it would be good omen that the community for the Genesis, somehow it broke it, and for the community to participate and share it enthusiastically. Yeah, so just following up on that. So please vote for the community on that proposal for those of us who got left out.
Thank you very much, Sovryn Crypto. One thing I'll just point out, the vote on this will be with Bitocracy 1.0, not with the Bitocracy 2.0, because we want to get this through much more quickly. I don't think we want anyone to have like an extended period of uncertainty.
Cool. Thanks for clarifying that.
Dragonly, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, sorry I joined a little bit late. So I
hold
wanted
on.
to know that
everyone, I think, should give like a little bit of a mute on and off in a way of clapping for Dragonly, who did an amazing job of dealing with millions of questions.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. So I wanted to ask that what statement did you give about the pending transaction?
I'm not
what
sure.
Are we going to do?
I'm not aware of pending transactions.
No, not pending transaction, but those who didn't go to tokens yet, who missed the tokens.
So we've explained that we don't have a decision about that yet, but we're reviewing the options and we'll provide an answer very, very soon.
So this is not decided that they will get SOE?
Dragonly, I think you and I should take this offline.
Okay, that would be perfect.
Thanks. All right, let's do one, or if we're lucky, two more questions. Sorry. I think I saw Gogo. Did you want to ask something?
Yes, I just want to say, yes.
Hello, Yago.
Hi.
I just jumped on the Aman, and I don't know if the question was asked, but are we planning to get listed on any DEX or checks soon after the launch?
We have been approached by a number of exchanges. I think it's good that the token will trade on exchanges ultimately. It will provide external feeds for our oracles. And so I suspect quite strongly that there will be a number of exchanges and dexes where SOV is tradable. But the most important one is the Sovryn platform itself, where it will be tradable.
Of course. Thank you very much, and congratulations for yesterday.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and for participating. We are working very hard to make sure that we can give extremely precise and 100% accurate accounting of exactly how things played out. And so we'll be publishing that as soon as we feel confident, which I expect will be quite soon, probably tomorrow, although I'm not promising. And we don't want, to keep, this is not a game. We're not trying to create a suspense. So we hope that everyone will have all of the answers to all of the questions as soon as possible. Thank you also. Hold on. Sorry. Danny, you wanted to say something?
Iago, I was trying to ask a question earlier. Quickly, just wanted to ask, because I know you mentioned about opportunities to work with. I just wanted to know, what stack are you guys using for dev?
Well, the stack is on the back end. We're using Node and SQL. The smart contracts are written primarily in Solidity, with tests written in Python and JavaScript, and front end is primarily React.
Perfect.
And TypeScript.
All right. Yeah, I would be interested in helping you guys out with whatever I can. So, yeah, I'll look out for that option.
Please ping me directly, or message me directly. That would be awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Listen, we had an amazing event. We're extremely grateful for all of the support, and really, it's cool to see that this vision that we have for a financial world decentralized around Bitcoin and integrated with the entire crypto ecosystem is one which is shared by so many other people with such enthusiasm. So thank you very much, and congratulations to all of us, because we're one step closer to having far more sovereignty for everyone.